Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. Brought to you by Blue Sky Business Consulting. We discuss 5 questions in about 15 minutes. Hello, and welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders share their insights. We are very excited to have you joining us today, and I'm very excited to welcome our guest today. This is Tony Morando, and he is the Chief Sales Officer of World Emblem International, and he is coming to us from the bright sunny shores of San Diego, California. I'm having a snowstorm here in Utah, and he is having a wonderful time in San Diego, I'm sure. So, Tony, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking time. Tell the audience a little bit more about World Emblem International.
Sure, Sean. First of all, thank you for having me. World Emblem is the world's largest emblem, patch, and badge manufacturer. So think about every baseball cap, every uniform, every police officer, anybody you see that's wearing a patch on a garment, most likely came from World Emblem. Company's been around now 32 years. We've had some tremendous growth over the past 20 years, and we're hoping to continue the path forward.
That is fantastic. Well, now I will think of you every time I see one of those emblems somewhere. That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, let's dive into our questions then. Tony, as we get started here, kind of our first question, as you probably have experienced, once in a while, a team will kind of drop into a little bit of a lull or kind of drag just a little bit. What can a leader do to infuse energy into their team?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think every leader has experienced this, or even individual contributor. From my point of view, I think it all starts with the top. So from our CEO, myself, and the rest of the executive team, we really make it a point to bring high energy at every meeting we're in. So even on a bad day, a tough day, you're never going to see us down. High energy, loud voices, strong personalities. It makes it very interesting to in some of these meetings. But I also think for my teams, I've got 5 different teams underneath me, and each team has a strategic huddle every single morning. And really that's to set the tone for the day. So when you think about lulls and energy, each one of those leaders understands that they have to bring the same, energy that the leadership team is bringing. And they start off with a round of victories. So the whole group goes around, everybody in each team, they highlight a victory from the previous day, which kind of gets everybody, I think, in an upbeat mood, which is really, really exciting. Another big piece of it is cross-functional work with other teams. We found that when you start engaging, at least on the sales side, operations, IT, marketing, finance into the meetings, just the new perspectives kind of gets people more interested and also elevates their energy a little bit. So those are kind of big ones I think that we're doing on a daily basis, as of today.
That is awesome. I like that. I like how you, especially that comment about you kind of, I'll paraphrase it just a little bit, how you expect the team members to more or less match the energy of the leaders. I think that is really important. And that puts a little more pressure on the leader to elevate that energy. And as you pointed out, if you're having kind of a rough start to a day, that could be a little more of a challenge, but that is an important role of a leader, is to always elevate energy. I love that. I think that's fantastic.
It is. And I think it's also great when you have, we hire specific traits within each role that we have, right? So we do look for people that have a high energy, but one of the things I'd say over my 20 years, at least with the World Emblem, I've realized that it's not always the high energy that makes the best salesperson. Some of the quietest people on the team are some of the best performers, but they know how to bring the energy when needed. So they may not be on 100% of the time, but they know when to turn it on at the right time to kind of make sure that the whole room feels the vibe. So
I like it. I like that. That's awesome. All right. Well, question number 2, how do you promote learning in your company?
So this starts top down. So our CEO is a huge advocate of reading and listening to ebooks. So every day, he puts a post on our company newsletter or company channel that we have, highlighting a book that he's either listening to or a book that he's read, and he's pulling out specific kind of quotes to make sure that he's engaging. We also support anybody in the company. There's 1,300 employees. Anybody that wants that book, our CEO will sponsor and buy the book for anybody that wants it. So there's that aspect of it. Education of actually going to school and taking courses. The company also supports higher learning. So I'll give you an example. Right now, I'm attending the University of Kentucky for the land manufacturer certification. And it's unique because You don't see many salespeople going in that direction or in those courses.
It's
So
interesting.
there's some principles that we're taking back and then we share with the team. And as one of their KPIs is a continuous improvement, continuous learning. So every week they have to do X amount of minutes or hours training on whatever topic is being kind of driven throughout the whole business.
I really like that. And I want to call attention to something that you said to our audience here, just to repeat it, because I thought it was so powerful. You actually have KPIs to measure that learning process. And I'd love to hear that, because that is something, and part of the reason why I'm asking this question of all of our guests this season is because I believe very strongly it's important to promote learning. And I love the fact that you guys have actually structured that with intention inside your company to really promote and do that. I think that's fantastic. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
It's even, we take it a step further. It's one thing to report the minutes or hours of learning, but then it's really getting them to express it and share with the team,
Yes.
pull out a couple topics. So, in these huddles that we do every day, quick 15-minute huddles, we go around and one person maybe call, hey, what's something you learned yesterday? Or give me some highlight you want to share with your team. So not only is it the energy level, but it's also sharing either best practices or new things that they've learned, success stories, which I think also helps kind of develop the whole team.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I love that. That's great. All right. Question number 3. Share one tip for effective delegation.
Good ones. This is a good question. And this is, as I've moved up within the business, I think the one thing I've learned is you have to be effective with the delegation. Otherwise it's easy to fall behind. So,
Right.
a couple of things would be we're very systematic in terms of how we do our delegation. So, Microsoft Planner is a tool that we use internally. It allows us to basically delegate activities to our team members or external team members. It also allows us to be very clear with what we're asking, right? So it's one thing to delegate, but if the team member isn't sure of what you're asking or why you're asking, we in that planner, what we do is we kind of put those what's and whys. So it's very clear for them to understand and know the reason behind it. I think that's a big one. And then obviously offering support from a management level. All my team leaders and myself are always available to help guide the team if they get stuck. Now, we don't want to integrate ourselves too early because we don't want to feel like we're taking away that responsibility or the delegation. But when needed, anybody can raise their hand and the team leader will step in to help out and make sure that nobody's stuck.
Oh, that's really good. It's a tricky balance, isn't it? Because you want to unleash them, but not make them feel like they've been abandoned. And so it sounds like you guys are really walking that tightrope really effectively, which I think is admirable. This is not easy. It's not
It's
easy.
not easy. And, to be honest with you, Sean, I think it's also important that we allow the team to fail sometimes, right? Because I think the best learnings come from the team not achieving, whatever the tasks are. So, yes, we will kind of help when needed, but we'll also allow people to fail. We're not going to completely jump in and stop something if we see it derailing because we want
Right.
the team member to learn. We want them to understand. So,
Oh, I think it's great. Yeah, some really important points that you brought up, Tony, because it is challenging. But you're right. You kind of have to let them fail a little bit, otherwise we don't learn. And that's an effective way to learn. And if people know that it's a safe place, psychologically speaking, for them to fail within reason, then they're going to be more emboldened to just go and try and do. That's awesome. All right. Question number 4. How do you communicate the values and purposes, vision, and those kinds of things to your team? What's an effective way to do that?
yeah, so a couple different ways. One, I'm starting from the top down, but from the executive level, we have what we call our annual Hoshin, which is really our 3-year plan, company plan. As a result of that Hoshin, what we do is we actually delegate sub plans to our team leaders. So that's the next layer down knows kind of the big goals for the company, the vision, where we're going, how we're going to get there. And what they do is then they bring it to their team and they start developing individual plans to help achieve it. Right. So I think there's that. There's also making sure that roles and responsibilities are crystal clear. This one, I think, in the past year, I've learned so much about roles and responsibilities and the importance of having the team understanding how they're contributing to the big picture and what they're responsible for. It really kind of drives that home, as well as, again, I talked about the daily huddles in the previous couple of questions you've asked, but it's really important that we have those huddles because we're constantly asking people what's going on with their Hoshin. What was something good that happened yesterday? How is their plan moving forward? And then on top of that, we also have our monthly newsletter that our CEO sends out company wide to all employees in both English and Spanish, just to kind of reiterate the same thing, right? The Hoshin plan, the 3-year plan, some of the big highlights for the month, what we achieved, what we're looking forward to the following month. The education, the books that I mentioned, he's highlighting the books as well. So if it's coming at a couple different ways for the group, but to me, it's really the huddles, the roles and responsibilities, and making sure that that plan is shared with the whole company. There is nothing hidden in our plan from any level, from a floor operator to a senior executive. Everybody's aligned with where we're going.
That's awesome. So it sounds like, if I could summarize just a little bit, your company has I would estimate, a pretty high expectation that everybody, as you indicated, from the floor manager, floor personnel, all the way up, have a very clear understanding of that. And that's just an expectation that you have of all of those goals and everything you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So we have in the States, Mexico, and Canada, we have a total of 5 manufacturing facilities. If you were to walk into any one of those facilities, you're going to see our vision statement. You're going to see all of our major KPIs that we're monitoring as a company, and it's the same messaging no matter where you go at any of the plant. So that way, all the staff is aligned. Everybody is aware of where we're going, how we're getting there, and just they start speaking to it as well, which is nice.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
very good clarification and emphasis, because it was such an important communication. You cannot have a vision and values and a mission statement, all those things, and then not communicate them. It just defeats the purpose. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing that so well. All right. Question number 5, my favorite question here. I am excited to hear the spickry, or whatever it is, about a favorite baseball memory. So take it away. Share the memory.
Oh man. All right. So I have a bunch here, Sean. So I'll pick a couple good ones. So I grew up in Boston. I went to school in Boston. As you know, it's Red Sox country, right? So anybody that follows baseball knows Red Sox and Yankees is probably one of the biggest rivalries in the world. I mean,
Yes.
there's the energy when you talk about energy earlier. There is no sporting event that I've ever been to that matches the hatred of two teams just wanting to go at it, right? Um, so in 2004, I had a uncle who gave us tickets to Game 4 of the Red Sox Yankees playoff game. And if you're familiar with this series, this was Yankees were winning 3 games to nothing. Everybody didn't want Game 4. They thought the tickets were a waste. So everybody's like, "Oh, just get them tickets away." And that's how we ended up getting these good seats. But Game 4, I'll never forget. I think it was the, I don't know, 7th inning or 8th inning, and Red Sox were down, and Big Papi goes in, hits a home run, and Red Sox end up going on to win the game, and then they end up going on to win the World Series. So to be at that game, the energy there, I mean, I've never felt anything. The whole stadium rocking and screaming. And Fenway is not a big park. I mean, it's an old rundown park. So when people are screaming, yelling, and moving, you can feel the whole stadium swaying. It was one of the best atmospheres I've ever been in any sporting event in my entire life.
Oh, I love that story. I've always wanted to meet somebody that was at the game. So this is great. Oh, yeah. It's one of the most miraculous comebacks ever. I mean, nobody at that point, nobody had come back from 3-0 and won the series. They'd evened it up, but always ended up losing in Game 7. You guys went all the way, and that was so much fun. I have watched, I don't know how many documentaries, at least half a dozen, that kind of retell the story. And and I'm not even a Yankees or Red Sox fan. I'm a Phillies fan, but I love the story and I love the drama. I just think it's awesome. So that's
It's wild, man. It really is. And just one more aside, I always tell people this that ask me about college life in Boston, right? So freshman year living in the city, there's people from all over, from New York, Connecticut. I mean, it's the Northeast. You got people everywhere in the city. But I'll never forget, again, during a Red Sox Yankees series, there was somebody running down Hemingway Street, which is one of the main streets running down the northeastern campus, and he had a Yankees jersey on, and he was yelling in the middle of the game, like people were in the dorms watching the game. I've never seen people flood the streets. The guy disappeared. Next thing you know, there's a Boston guy with a jersey on waving the Yankees jersey. They actually took the jersey off him. And that was really my first love of seeing the city and the rivalry. the New York fans are absolutely amazing. I mean, I had so many good friends from New York that I met while living in Boston, but they feel equally hatred towards Boston. That's wild.
It's worldwide. I mean, I'm clear out here in Utah, and there are Yankees Red Sox rivalries going on here too. So I can only imagine it intensifies the further east you get. But, oh, those are great stories, Tony. Thank you for sharing them. Obviously, I've got a big smile on my face here because I love hearing any kind of a baseball story, but those are especially good. So I like those. Well, Tony, thank you for taking time to be on the podcast today. How can people find you?
Yeah, so a couple different ways you could find me on LinkedIn. If you're active on LinkedIn, you can search Tony Morando and World Emblem, and it will pull up. Or you could find me under the World Emblem website, which is worldemblem.com, and my contact info is listed there as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining us. And thanks to all of you who take time bi-weekly that we release it, but we appreciate you joining us and discussing leadership and teams. Thanks so much to everybody. Have a great day. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, go to teamengagementpodcast.com. We also invite you to follow or subscribe to our podcast wherever you may be listening or watching. Is your business thriving? Go to tbs-score.com to find out. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.